We are officially live. Yay! Hey everybody! Hey everybody! Thank you for tuning in. If you are tuning in now, later, in the middle of our conversation, once again, it's just a conversation with us lovely ladies. And I do have a special guest with me today, and I'll get to introduce her in a second. But first, I want to pass the introduction back to Ty.
Hello, everyone on this hot day. Hope everyone's staying cool. Thank you again for chiming in to Mothers Unfiltered. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share, comment.
Yes. And just a reminder, I want to make sure that for anybody that's commenting, we won't forget you. I always get the text, hey, I got this question or whatever. So put all your questions out there and we'll definitely go to answer. I wanted to take a moment out to introduce my guest. Today's topic is black hair. And it's so funny because we actually needed a topic to have this. We had to have a platform for this because it's that lengthy. It's so intricate. It's black girl magic, if I must say. Jamie here is our guest, and I'm going to read a little bio just to introduce her to our audience. She's originally from Virginia. She's been in Florida most of her life, became interested, and she fell in love with hair when she was a young girl and learned on playing with her dolls like most of us. She went to Aveda Institute where she became a licensed cosmetologist, trained with some of the top stylists of the world, including Ted Gibson, Sam Villa, and learned the cutting techniques of the late Vidal Sassoon. She started her career in Winter Park, Florida, where she first started off as an apprentice under other experienced stylists. 2011, she opened her own salon, which remained open for 5 years, and is currently an independent stylist specializing in all hair types, focusing on natural hair, cuts, color, and different types of extensions. She's also my hairdresser. Thank you. Every time I'm in the chair, we always talk about conspiracy theories and did you hear, girl? And this is the place to socialize is in the hair salon, correct?
Exactly. That's where it's at.
Exactly. Well, before I get into the questions and just going from there, I just want to let everybody know and give them a little bit of insight on weaves. Just and this, when I mean weaves, I'm talking about extensions and wigs and those type of things. So, me and my notes. I was doing the research because I thought it was really, really phenomenal how a lot of people were uneducated to where they all started. I found out that weaves were going on since 500 BC in Africa in a town called Calcun. It's in Egypt. And I was also researching and learning that they hated hair for two reasons. One, they wanted to be able to change their hairstyles as they go. And also they had a big lice problem as well. So because they didn't like body hair and they wanted to change their hairstyles and just kind of always switch it up based on if they were celebrating, there was a death, whatever, they would put those wigs on, put them off. Nefertiti, her favorite color I heard was peacock blue. She threw that wig on, pop, pop, and she was doing her thing. She added metals and different gold pieces all intertwined with the weave. The weave was also made of human hair and sheep. Another thing I found out that it was such a hot commodity, it was also just as valuable as gold. So when it came to hair and just what are these black women doing, of course we are style, we are trendsetters, and we're over here doing it. But now all of a sudden in 2020, how you can't wear your own hair? Oh my God, what is this? So please enlighten us. Please talk to us in reference to why now have we lost our own roots and where it came from? Like what is going on, Jamie? Talk to us.
Well, we were definitely heavily influenced by, African culture, like you mentioned, Nefertiti and like the jewels. Like I see now, you even have them in your hair. I just think that they always say like hair is your best accessory. Right. So your hair is what makes you who you are. It's self-expression. So whether it's your natural hair or weave or whatever it is, like that's a part of who you are. Just like you get up and you take a shower, you put your clothes on in the morning, your hair is a part of you. So that's my take on that. And we're influenced through different time periods that, help us decide on like, certain styles, like whatever we're like interested in that time period. But it is definitely a part of who you are. So as far as that is concerned, then yeah, like I just think that it's a part of it.
And I don't know, Ty, and definitely correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to speak for you, but maybe I am. For me personally, this is the topic that me and my brother will argue about. Like normally, and my brother's very, very, I don't want to say opinionated, but he sticks to his facts.
Very opinionated, yeah.
Oh. Well, it is what it is. But the only time, and it's so funny because social media, you gotta love it. That's the time he'll actually block me and I'll block him and we're not speaking.
No, y'all get into it.
Well, it's about the authenticity of hair in Black women and why we wear wigs and weaves and ... I can say that I've never worn extensions, fake hair, wigs, none of that. I've always dealt with my hair in chemicals. So like within the last year, I haven't put any chemicals in my hair. So now I'm learning my actual natural hair. Okay. And it's a struggle for me. I don't know the grade. I don't know how to maintain it. I don't know anything. Nothing.
People wear weaves for many different reasons. A lot of it is, being a hairstylist, I deal with people who have health concerns, alopecia. There's people that are experiencing cancer, they go through the chemotherapy and they lose their hair. So I deal with that, and that's why they wear weave. Also, a lot of women, like we deal with like thinning edges and that kind of thing. So a lot of people want to wear weave for that reason, for thinning hair. And then also just to thicken your hair. If you have fine hair, you straighten your hair, it's fine. The weather, the environment. We live in Florida here, so it's very humid. In the summertime, it's brutal. It's hot. It rains every day. So, wearing a weave is also convenient. You don't have to get up and press your hair and then go outside and then worry about it poofing up. Yeah, you already know.
But then you have men, unfortunately,
yes,
who may not understand that. No. And I have to put it out there. They become very, very judgmental.
My
and
dad,
of course, it's not every,
My dad does not like fake hair. He does. He will tolerate it, but he's not a fan.
But here goes the thing. And before you jump in, Jamie, I just wanted to say that's the frustrating thing. I just read a little synopsis about where it came from. Weaves came from Africa. We were doing it. We don't want hair. We could take it off, change it. We're doing it for parties, weddings, funerals, whatever rituals we're doing back in ancient times. I told you it happened 500 BC. This is how old weaves are. But for a person like, I just hate it. Why do Black women have to do it? Like, this is in our roots. This is natural to us. We like to, have
these for it too. From from the other races and from men. We got, we were shamed for wearing weaves and stuff like that. But it's a difficult subject just because, like, we would wear weave because of either, our accessories or insecurities. But, white women, they would kink their hair up. They would tease their hair and puff it up because they wanted to be like us.
Right.
So it's funny. It's
you see that double standard all the time?
Yeah.
Well, and let me ask this. What is the obsession? And I don't even want to say with just white women, because I've had white men approach me and want to touch my hair. What is it about our hair that is so magical and like it? What is it? It's but they want to. Has anyone else ever experienced that where you've had people come up to you and just want to touch your hair? Like,
Yeah, my natural hair is it's not really coily, it's not kinky, it's kind of like soft. It's like Kia's hair. It's very soft and like loose curls. And I've gotten, I've been in the grocery store and they say, "Oh, your curls are so pretty. What are you mixed with?"
Mm-hmm. I heard that.
Okay,
I'm black. Black and black.
I'm black. Number one. Oh, but it's so soft. Okay, so being black, that means that you can't have, soft hair. You can't have curly. Like, we come in different kinds, different shades, different colors, different textures, different everything, right? So,
dominant.
Yeah.
I have naturally like long hair, so then I always get the question, even from our women of color, is it real? Is your hair real?
Oh.
I get that more than I get the people wanting to touch it, and it's from our people. Is my hair real? Yes, real. Look at it, spout, dig it, scratch it, see if there's some danger, but my hair can't be long. Like,
that's deep. That is like, it comes from self-hate. And like, that could be a whole 1 hour long subject talking about self-hate. But one thing I did mention to Kia was that there's no such thing as black hair.
Okay.
And I embrace that idea that there's no such thing as black hair, and that black hair doesn't exist, but texture of hair does.
Right.
And that falls under the whole example that I just gave you guys about me in the grocery store and someone seeing my hair and like, "Oh, are you black or what are you mixed with?" Like, you can't have that kind of hair. Right. And I think that just comes from, in time, like a long time ago, black hair was always used to describe hair that was considered bad hair. Mm-hmm. Like, if you were black, if you're black hair was always considered, okay, do you have black hair? Like, what kind of hair do you have?
Right.
Like, that was described as bad hair. Nappy, right. Rough hair that wouldn't grow, hair that was dry, hair that wasn't long. So, right. We've been told, and we even believe within ourselves, men and women, that black hair was bad. Right. And that created self-hate within ourselves. Yeah. And, that's when we began to use chemicals. We texturizers, relaxers. We wanted to straighten our hair. We wanted to loosen our curl. We wanted to do everything to fit into what society thought that our hair was supposed to be. And because of that self-hate, in society, when you are approached by different people, it is okay. So it's still people that think that way, Yeah.
We have to change the stereotype.
We have to change it.
How?
We have to change it.
Okay. So how do you change the stereotype about black hair when we're altering our hair and concealing our hair? How do we educate about something that we're not being authentic about?
Okay. Well, I do think that that's something that we are doing now. Right. Within the last 10 years, there's been natural hair movement. We are doing better as far as embracing our natural curl and wearing our natural hair, different textures, different, I have very few relaxer clients.
Really?
Very few. There are different approaches to achieving straight hair, through different products that have come out. There's silk presses. I know you guys have heard of a silk press, and everyone's like, okay, well, what is a silk press? Is that chemicals? Is that what does that consist of? And that's basically a blowout and press on natural hair using serum and oils, different oils to get the hair silkened, to silk press the hair. So there's keratin treatments. I've heard you to basically still maintain your natural texture, but you can blow out your hair and it can withstand the humidity and the environment. And you can wash your hair and it'll still be kinky, it'll still be curly, but you can flip flop back and forth. You get best of both worlds. Right. So there's new things that are out that work for everybody. And that also kind of like helps with that. But I think that we are like embracing the natural hair culture, and we just educate each other. And I think within that, like we can change.
Before we get to the comment, just wanted to say that one thing I think we do, like I said, for me, I stay with the fun facts. Anybody who knows me personally, I will bust out a fun fact so real. I'll be like, wait, hold up, let me pull out the phone. It stays in my hand. You know what I mean? I'm like, wait a second, where's that at? And with that being said, take straightener, for instance. You know, these Egyptians, they're talking about, and it's not just the Egyptians, but just using them as they would take the satin cloths, boil them in the hot waters, and then they would straighten the hair if they kept their hair. Once again, these are the ones who decided to keep their hair because a lot of them just shaved it because of the lice. But there were so many ways to straighten hair. And somewhere down this lineage of white supremacy and trying to fit in today's society or keep a job because your hair was too ethnic, it became a thing that we lost our heritage. We lost that knowledge. I've been working in HR for a very, very long time. I promise you, I've had people call because I'm supposed to help them find employment and get the whole, job thing working. I'll call a doctor's office and I'm saying, hey, well, we have some students that just graduated and they're looking for employment and da-da-da-da. And I hear your offer. Can I send some students over with the resumes? Can you make sure that their hair is not too, too curly? And I'm like, what?
Wait a minute, you've actually experienced it?
Oh, HR experiences all the time. The reason why they won't hire because of the look, like this here would be considered too ethnic. And for jobs, I actually know when to braid the hair or to get something that's straight, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to be in front of clients and different business people and these things from certain corporations like the CEOs or whatever, we don't get any type of business, any deals. I have been told, oh, can you just tone that back? It happens.
Really?
So that ends up happening. And you're like, well, wait a second. This money's paying my kids, but then at the same time, I know that I can't pull this employer in to network with us and then people will lose business. So then you kind of playing against your morals. And it's easy for somebody to say, well, girl, I would quit that job because, I need to do it. But when you have to pay the light bill, when you got to feed those kids, but it happens. It really, really, we have to educate. We have to have those fun facts, letting people know what's up. Can we go to Ty, can you go to the comment?
Hey, everyone again. So we have Liz that said, I've had people want to check my scalp for tracks because it was short and curly one day, or usually in a ponytail or bun. Then I get a blowout and it confuses people. And again, like, I guess people are not used to the versatility. Like, it's hair.
Exactly.
It's hair. Again, growing up with long hair, with chemicals or without chemicals, my hair has always been the focus of me. I'm very petite. I don't have much of anything else. So, I fling the hair around and made me feel good. And then I did a big chop on my hair, and it wasn't devastating to me, but it was devastating to everyone else. And I'm like, again, it's just hair. It grows back.
Yes.
You could get it recut, redone. It's just hair. What's the big hype? And again, I understand that it's self-identity and expression, but what is the big hype when it comes to dealing with other people's hair and how you are viewed by them or they view you? I don't understand.
I honestly, I just think that it's a blessing to be able to have versatility and to be able to get up every single day. Like, that is great. Like, if anything, I just think it's discrimination, and to go to work and to be, judged based on the way your hair looks each day, when that's a part of who you are.
Right.
And I should have did a little bit more research before coming on here. There was a law that's passed. It's in several states. I'm trying to find the name of the actual
for the hair.
Yeah, it's for hair, and it's basically a law. It passed in Texas. It's several other states.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's to protect women from discrimination from their hair, so you can wear your braids or twists and not be discriminated against for coming.
That's the thing.
But wait a minute, are the laws just for women in their hair, or does it include men? Because
it's men as well.
It's men
as well. Mm-hmm. It's
but
for
that's
Black.
the thing. This law that just came into pass in 2020, it's not in every state. And Florida is a right to work state, meaning that I could fire you tomorrow and you've been here with the company for 20 years and not give you no reason why. And that's a very scary thing, because right now when you say, hey, did you fire me because I put some twists or something in my hair? Oh, no, of course not. Have a nice day. You'll never truly know. And it's not like you could go ask somebody, well, what did you hear on the street? What did they say? You know, the only way that you can claim hair discrimination and go to the EEOC, that's who you reported to, if your HR is not working. The only way that you can claim that is if you have proof. Well, you know, I got the text message, or somebody made these comments, or they were coming out.
In and outright.
Right.
Really?
Have you, now here's the kicker. What would be the appropriate measure when you see these different videos about the children? They're cutting, the staff members are cutting the braids off of the gymnasts. You can't go to the prom because of certain things. Now that has nothing to do with employment. This is just, oh, well, the reason why we cut the guy's dreads off because it was getting in the way. They're making these excuses to put their hands in our hair and say what can be and what we need to, you know, shave that down or whatever. I mean, how do you handle that instead of, like, who do you complain to in reference to that? You know, because right now, somebody touch somebody's kid, you ready to, you know, bash your head or something. But
I'm fighting for my kids. Look,
I don't want to say anything.
I mean, what do you tell your children in reference to? Because right now, when you have, let's just say his name was Billy. Billy wants to be on that wrestling team, but you know the referees and stuff is like, oh, that hair, you know, here you got those dreads or whatever. How do you tell them? How do you fight against stereotypes? How do you tell them don't let people get those scissors and cut that hair? Like, what do you do? How do you educate your children?
We have to educate our children just on, like, as a whole, like everything that's going on in the world, because they don't know. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's happened in the past and what's led up to, like, what's going on today. You know, like you just said, Billy, he comes in, he has the dreads, but then you got Matthew, he has the mohawk, you know. And then when it comes to work, you know, you have the woman coming in to work with her dreads and she's getting fired because they don't like the way her hair looks. But then Judy can come in with a short skirt on.
Right.
You know? So it's like, it's just, when it comes to the kids, we just have to educate them on everything that's going on.
Don't be touching my baby's hair.
My child, look.
But I actually want to, like, switch the tone a little bit. So now I want to start, like, asking questions about the different hair types, how to identify them, maintenance, products. Because I always like to try to give the audience something that we don't know, right? You know, we know that there's an issue with hair and black hair, or excuse me, hair
texture.
There's no in the texture.
Sure.
But again, like, can you please help us that are struggling with our hair? Like, how do you identify what your hair type is? And does that really matter when using certain products and the maintenance and care?
Okay. So textures of hair, there's 3 types. Okay. You have type 2, type 3, and type 4. Okay. Type 2 is like a wavy, loose curl, spiral-like curl. Then you got type 2, which is like curly. And then you have type 3, which is like coily, like a tighter curl. So, I mean, you can kind of envision like the different curls, like you have a wave, then you have a curl, and then you have a coil. Okay. And with those 3 types, there are type A, B, and C. So you got type 2, A, B, and C. Type 3,
Ah,
and then you
did
got
not
type
know that.
4, A, B, and C. So if you think about it, okay, we have a type 2, right? This is your girl with the wavy hair, loose wavy hair. You have a type A, a type B, and a type C, with type A being the loosest and type C being like the tightest within that type of hair. And then, skip to type 4, it's coily. So you have your type A, B, and C, with C being the tightest. That's your tightest, most coily texture of hair. Right. So when it comes to products, like I have people come and sit in my chair and they say, well, what product do you recommend? And that's always a tricky question to answer clients, just because it's not necessarily just a brand that we have to look for. We have to read the ingredients. And then that's where your texture comes into play, because based on the type of curl pattern you have, dealing with natural hair, we're talking about. With relaxed hair, it's a little different. With relaxed hair, it's more catered to the chemical, like the texture of the right. chemically processed hair. But when you're dealing with natural hair and curl patterns, you want to look at the ingredients. So you want to stay away from like certain products that will dry your hair or mess with your curl pattern. So the tighter the curl, the more moisture you need, because the drier your hair is.
Okay.
The less curl that you have, the more moisture, the retention that you have. So you don't need as much moisture as somebody who has a tighter, more coily texture. So it really, the curl, it's all about moisture and the retention, because that's what holds your hairstyle.
So the question I have, because especially for me and you met my oldest daughter, we have two different types of textures in our hair. And it's very confusing, because you have this nice wave, and then you have what in the world? I can't get this, So with that being said, are you recommending, or are you saying that we should use two products, or how would that work to get two different types of textures?
Yeah. So I call it cocktailing, and like cocktailing is a mixture of different products. So like for each person, depending on what your situation is, whether you have different textures, or you might have scalp issues, or your ends, you have ends issues with split ends. I would recommend different products for different people. But basically, it would be like if you go to the doctor and you get a prescription based on whatever your needs are, the same thing with your hair. So when you come in and you get your hair done, I would prescribe a cocktail of different products that you would need based on your hair texture. So you have a mixture of different hair textures on one head. You need a mixture of different products that cater to both of those textures in your head. So
if there was such thing as like a full consistency when it comes to hair, instead of having, like Kia said, one portion
of my hair is nice and wavy.
Right. Like I got tight spiral curls. I don't know what this is.
I get it.
Like a way to make our hair consistent throughout. Do we do a big cut and then start from the beginning?
If you have, I've done that several times, believe it or not. It's not the most comfortable thing to do. But yeah, you could do it that way. Also, a lot of the consistency within our hair also comes with the consistency of like stuff that we use in our hair too. Right. So like for our for relaxers, there's people that I do a couple clients that I do relaxers for, like, sometimes they stretch it longer than they're supposed to, so when it comes time for you to get that retouch, if I haven't seen you in 6 months and you're like, well, I don't really want to get a relaxer that often, I just want to come in and get it done sometimes because I just need it to feel soft. But I haven't seen you in 6 months and you have all this new growth, because your hair usually grows an eighth of an inch a month. Normal, like not like that's the normal growth span for hair. So if I haven't seen you for 6 months, you have all this new hair grown out. So if you're not consistent with, the relaxing process, and or for natural hair, the trimming process, You're gonna have some inconsistencies.
Wait.
You're gonna have some inconsistencies because you're gonna have.
You look like you're over here about to like. Ah.
It's okay because it happens all the time. It's not like it's not a bad thing, but that's where that comes from. It comes from you chemically straightened it this month, and then your hair is straightened, but then you have new hair that's growing in. So then you have your straight hair, your new kinky new growth that's growing in, and then you got your ends. Your ends might have some damage going on, and or might need a haircut. So you have different stuff going on. And then natural hair, just because it's natural, like a lot of people think, okay, my hair is curly, it's nice, I'm gonna wear it wet up or do like a twist out. They're not gonna see, you can't see those ends until you press them out. But it's damaged. So it's like if it's not being cut, right, that rides up. So it splits like this. And if you don't cut it, it's gonna keep riding up and riding up, riding up.
Got it.
You want to go to the comment, Ty?
Out. I have very this is okay. Denise Shannon. I have very thick, coarse hair. I mean, I have very thick, coarse, yes, that kind of hair. Without chemicals, it's brittle in the winter and poof in the summer. What can I put in my hair so it's healthy without wearing a wig, weave, extensions if I don't want to? Okay. Great question.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with coarse, coily hair, you want to make sure you keep it moisturized. Oh, I see it. There's a question. You want to keep it moisturized for one. You said without chemicals, so it's natural. Keep your hair moisturized for one. You want to do conditioning treatments. I usually recommend at least every 2 weeks, condition your hair. Do it from home. If you don't go to the hair salon like regularly, just like find a nice conditioner that you like, because even there's a million conditioners out there, and I could recommend anything, but like if you don't like the way it smells or it could be, like you have to find something that's good for you, but you need to stay away from alcohol. Alcohol dries out hair. So if you're using gels or any type of mousses or anything in your hair that has oil in it, if you have dry hair or coily hair, it's going to suck that moisture out of your hair, which is going to make it cause what is it? Argan oil. Argan oil.
That and another oil that my sister suggests. But what do you think about the oils? And
oils are great. Oils are so good, and like natural oils are the best because there's no byproducts, there's nothing in it but just natural oils. So you got coconut oils, you have castor oil, Jamaican castor oil is great. You have your shea, you have different kinds of oils, and then they come in different forms too. You have just like your natural oil, then you have like the thicker oils, like because you can get coconut oil in like a thicker. You can get it liquidy or you can have it like thicker. So the thicker your hair is, the more moisture you would need. So you don't have to grease up, but
I'm not a hairdresser or nothing like that, but I can say, because I've seen it, I've experienced it, not as much as others, but when you have natural hair, it's work, and you have to have that allotted time to put that work in. I remember watching my best friend. She was in the mirror one time. She's like, I'm gonna do my hair. Now, for me, at that time, throw a ponytail, just something quick, because I don't have time. She'd be in the bathroom. She'd set it on to old school hip hop music. She'd be in that bathroom for 2.5 hours, and she's boom, 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 and dancing to the music. I'm like, my arms hurt. What in the world? But if you have a busy life, if you have a lot of things going on, can you even allot 2.5 hours of your day? Yep. And not even mention if you had kids who have hair, you got to sit and do this and pick out this and this. It's work.
It's a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of work. You have to kind of figure out what fits into your lifestyle. Like I have girls that they don't have time. They have kids. They got to go to work. They don't have time to do their hair.
I don't.
They wear a wig. They wear a wig. They get braids. You have to invest in your hair.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was telling, I don't know if I told both of you. I know I told Ty, or told somebody, basically, I was saying for me, I started wearing wigs and weaves and all that other, weaves initially when I was in the military, because when I was in training, they used to do dress drills where they would tell you to go ahead and, put this uniform at this time and get this done, and everything was timed. So let's just say I'm taking this off and doing this and running here and grabbing this. I didn't have time to do my hair, while my counterpart could just slick it in a little bun and call it a day. At that time, they weren't allowing the trainees to get their hair braided or anything. So it's not like I could just put a braid in, and then plus your cavalier, your hat, your headgear cannot sit on your head in certain ways because the braids. So this one girl said, well, if you want to be able to not get in trouble and be able to meet these drills and these things, throw some weave in and you'll be able to go poop, poop, poop. And it just became so habitual. But with knowledge is power. And for me, once again, if you know me, I have no patience. And I would just take it up, rip, and I'm not putting no oil on nothing. And I'd be like, talking to my edge God. I'd be like, edge God, please find me, Lord. Lord Jesus. No, I mean, and to be honest with you, I mean, I've been through it. I've had somebody put a perm in my hair one time. This is unfiltered. I'm getting candid with y'all. Perm in my hair, they were going to do a quick weave. And for those people who do not know what a quick weave is, it's kind of when they mold your head and then they wrap it. And when they're wrapping it with the little paper, they're putting the tracks of glue, on the hair, and they style the hair, whatever. And it's supposed to be quicker than the regular sewing. So I go ahead, I want to get this done. Well, me not knowing anything about hair, the woman was like, well, let me go ahead and put a perm in your hair. You don't need a perm if you got a quick weave. She puts a perm in my hair, washes it out, then she does the quick weave. I'm like, man, this burn. Maybe I was just scratching. I took the weave out, maybe, because I never keep nothing in more than 3 weeks. That was my top. I'm sorry, I can't handle it. I'm sorry, Jamie, can't do it. More than 3 weeks, I had the hairstyle in. I'm in the shower, and I'm doot, and I'm literally pulling hair from my head, and I'm screaming. I am scalped. All in the top of my head is white. And I'm just screaming, and I'm crying, and I'm like, at that time, my husband was home, and I'm like calling him, oh my God, and he's seen it. It was this big. It was a chemical burn.
Did you sue?
I could not sue somebody's homemade shit. Couldn't.
Where were you at? Were you in somebody? Did you visit?
Wait, Denise said, thank you. She said, thank you.
Okay, so did you visit the kitchen beautician, or like where did you go?
Did I visit who?
The kitchen beautician.
No,
that's what it sounds like.
No, that's what I'm saying. I went to her first time for her sewing. I went to her for a sewing. She did it so tight the first time. I literally came home, and then my husband had to take it out. I was like, I can't, because I couldn't feel my brain. That's how tight it was. It was like cool. And I was like dying. I took the weave out the same day. It was that tight. Then she was like, oh, you're just so tender-headed. I don't know why I came back to her.
Yeah.
But she was bouncing around from shock. I don't know. That's my fault. When I tell you I have stories for days, this big right on top of my head, and it burned still to that, like it was burning. I guess it was a chemical burn.
Yeah.
Correct? Is it still burning?
Yeah. You probably didn't rinse out your or neutralize the hair after rinse out the relaxer. You're supposed to neutralize it first.
No, there's no neutralizer. No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but here's the thing though, and my husband, and thank you if you're listening, Cash, he has been he has been my number one supporter when it comes to Akia's hair journey, because and here's the thing, speaking of your spouse and hair, sometimes you gotta switch it up on them. One day you Tina, the next minute you like, hey, you Mindy, whatever. So the men be liking it, but that's another subject. But y'all know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you talk about.
I don't know.
You gotta get you some wigs, some color, and be like, hey.
You gotta switch it up.
No.
Or you.
You ain't going nowhere. Who you want today? Wendy? I could be Wendy. But anyway.
But with the switching of the styles, Like how do you maintain it? Because literally, Kia, I don't know what goes on over there. One day, no,
like foreign land to you. We talking about the
this is what I mean. Let me clarify. One day there's a nice, puff, one color.
Girl, that's a $5 puff.
Thing of braids in her hair. 2 days later, there's a half width. So I don't know. I like it, and I really like it, and I like the way you wear everything that you wear. You make it look good. But what about the maintenance? Is it hard with braids versus wig? But like, what do you do with a wig? Do you wash it? Do you?
You want to take that one, Jamie? I'm really professional.
Well, first I wanted to say about Kia, like it totally fits her personality, like 100%. 100%. So when you said she got the puff and the ponytail, then she got the braids, that is her personality. Like that's self-expression to the max right there, because that's just who she is.
Yes.
But when you're dealing with like the wigs and stuff like that, you do wash it. You do, you got to take it off. You got to wash your hair. You got to wash your hair and be fair. You have to wash the wig. I mean, if it's a low quality wig and it's synthetic, and if you open the oven, it's catch on fire. Then
okay.
You gotta beat it first, then burn it.
Okay, wait a minute.
Everybody want those big wings. That's when you can't have your man gonna be like, what in the world?
No, you won't fight like that. What? Okay, so again, this me really like not knowing, because I've never dealt with this. So I know that you have to wash your hair, you have to wash your scalp. But again, okay, so the maintenance of the wig, are there specific products you use? How do you know the grade of the hair? How do you
when it comes to wigs, like, I mean, I always recommend like the people who don't really know how to deal with them to get like the professionals to like help you with it, because a lot of the times if you're not a wig wearer, you're probably not going to know how to braid your hair down and to put the wig on and how to take care of it. So like I would do that. But when it comes to like maintaining it, then you would have like, there's wigs that you can take off, and then there's wigs that you can't take off. Mm-hmm. So you have the wigs with the combs inside that you can just kind of like slip them over your hair and then like, attach them. Or you have the ones that the new style wigs where it's a lace frontal and this whole edge is bonded.
Right.
And you can't remove those until you go back to the hair salon, because they're customized to fit your head.
I'm about to put my little commentary.
Wait, let's tell you why I'm mad, right? I'm mad because like you said, we take pride in our hair, right? So this is my go-to of who I think I'm cute for 5 seconds when my hair looks good. So now they got all this stuff. Again, remember, this is me. You could be all up in my hair. You could see the scalp is all real. Now when we open up everybody else's scalp, it looks real too. Can I get mine?
She said this from birth. You've been on Instagram. You see these girls, they be like this apartments beside.
Yes. I'm like, can I get, because now that don't mean nothing. In the bigger scheme of things, it don't mean nothing for me.
One thing that we mentioned in the beginning of the conversation was, and I think you mentioned it, Jamie, your hair is like an accessory. And I look at it as it could be a cheap accessory, or it could be something that, it looks good. Now, I cannot disclose how much I spend in hair because my husband is on this podcast. I know it's an unfiltered conversation, but I can't go there.
No,
I will not disclose
amount. Give a guess around about in the middle of.
Well, let me give an example. And this is my altar life, I'm
not telling you. I ain't saying nothing. I ain't telling.
Okay, so unfortunately, and this is unfortunate, And please correct me, Jamie. How long would a person normally wear a weave? Maybe 2-3 months
max.
And then maybe get the touch ups and these different things or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So for myself, I don't want to look like, who shot John. So I need to get that good. And so to get that good, I'm going to spend maybe about $200 on the actual hair. And that hair, is gonna do one of those numbers, and it's gonna be nice, and we're popping and doing it. And you can dye it, you can style, you can do all that things with it,
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me be honest and unfiltered. Sorry, Cash, I know you listening. So basically, I had this blonde weave on the podcast maybe some weeks ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago, and that was supposed to be it was cut really nice and everything. She did it, Jamie did it, thank you. And that hair I spent about $200 and some for, and they had a special going on. You buy the hair, you get the style for free. And I'm not promoting any companies, but just putting that out there. Before that, I would literally just toss it. I would toss my hair and I would just rebuy some more hair.
Wait, okay, so what are you supposed to do with the hair?
You're supposed to take it out. Well, you're supposed to get it like a touch up and a tighten. And then you go to Jamie, and then she washes it up and these things. And she makes you look beautiful again. But for me, I don't have any patience. And so, I just sometimes just get rid of it and then just buy some more. So sometimes it could be about $500 for that month, maybe. How do you get out the camera?
So she's like, let me hide. So my thing is, you need to have a stash box. I recommend every woman in this world have a stash box.
I do now. Oh, wait, there's a comment. He said keep it
real. You need a stash box. So your stash box.
Wait. A stash box of hair?
I have one.
Yeah, so your stash box can include whatever it is that you like to wear. So you got your wig wearers, you have your people who like sew-ins. If you're going to invest in your quality hair, you need to hold on to it, take it out and wash it, put it in your stash box. And when you want that weave again, put that hair right back in. And you know what? We can make it a different color.
I do now.
You
recycle that weave.
Plus $100.
I do now. Hey, wait. So one of the comments is from my husband, guys, and it says keep it real. And so within keeping it real, guys, I do now have that stash box that Jamie's talking about. It's a stash bag. And I throw all my weaves. And if, like, for instance, the girl told me to buy 12 packs for the braids, and she only used 9. And with her using 9, I have these extra packs. I'm not going to throw that hair away. So I just put it in a bag. So if I need a touch up for this, I could go ahead and do it. The only hair I did throw away was the blonde one, because since it was cut in a style, it's not as if I can reuse that. Yeah. It's kind of like a wrap. But at the end of the day, it can be very costly.
I see. Yeah, I can't. And no judgment, because everyone invests in what they invest in, right? And you invest in your hair, which is fine. So, but Jamie, I have to ask you, okay? So, as a stylist, right? What are some of the craziest and worst things you've seen in your chair?
Oh, this gonna be good. Tell it. Yes.
Okay. I've had the craziest of crazies. And, I think it's because, I deal with men as well, but mostly my clients are women. That's who mostly comes into the shop. And dealing with women, you already know. You have different personalities. It depends on what's going on that day.
Right.
I've had people, I'm in the middle of cutting their hair and they melt down. They bring me a picture and they want to look this way, and we start cutting.
Oh,
we start cutting and they're just like, they freak out. And I had somebody grab the scissors from me while I was cutting their hair and start cutting it themselves, you know.
Wait,
what? Wait, so they wanted to look like Beyonce and they was looking like Solange? Oh my God.
I've had people take scissors from my hands while I was cutting their hair. I've had, I've done a roller set. She under the dryer. She's hot. She took the rollers out, rolling on the floor. They just rolling on the floor. Rollers just everybody. Taking rollers hot. She's hot. She don't even sit. I've had a lot of things happen. And then just working with like my peers, like people that I've worked with in the past, like I've different kinds of people, like from different, I've worked with everybody. Like I don't just work in the black hair salon. Like, I've owned a salon before and I've worked it around different culture, different people. I've worked around, Dominican hair stylists, white, black, like everybody. I'm diverse, but right. I've been in situations where I'm working next to someone and they did someone's hair, and I guess the client didn't have the money to pay her. And she took the water bottle, and after her hair was done, she went and she sprayed her hair down and she was like, "Thank you." So I've seen the craziest stuff ever. Like when I had my salon, I had a girl that was an assistant to me, and she was shampooing all my clients and like prepping them for me before I began to do their hair. And she had a license, like she was legit. And I was training her on how to do like short haircuts, like pixie cuts. And she was cutting, the woman was white and she had straight hair. She was cutting around her ear, and she cut the tip of her ear, like right here.
Oh.
And she cut the meat off. Like basically, if you take the scissors and she cut the meat off of her ear. So that was rough because we did, she did sue the salon like for that. Yeah, and it was under my insurance. So it was like, you deal with like it's some crazy stuff. Like you see a lot of stuff. A lot of the times, I feel like as a hairstylist, we're like therapists as well. Right. So yeah, you're coming in, you're paying for a service, but your experience is more important than that service. Like as much as like you want your hair done and you want to look fly when you leave, if you go somewhere and you have a bad experience, even if your hair looks good, you might not go back there just because you didn't like the experience that you had with that person, or that relationship that you built with that person didn't feel welcoming, or you didn't feel comfortable. So I value like that over anything.
Right. I want to talk about experience, but can you go to the comment side?
Yes, we have Freely commenting for Jamie. How are you handling the pandemic as a stylist?
Ooh, yeah, it's rough. We're trying to follow all the guidelines. I wear a mask. My clients wear a mask. I'm sanitizing in between people. We're bleaching, we're spraying. It's just, we're cleaning the shampoo bowls in between. I take a lot longer to service people now than I did before because I'm not double booking like I used to. On a Saturday, I would come in at 8:30 in the morning. I'm doing 3 people at a time. I got one going to the bowl, one coming to the chair, one, and you rotate everyone. So it's like, okay, can you go sit over there? Okay, can you meet me at the bowl? Like, I can't work that way anymore because we can't have that many people in at a time. So we just have to follow the guidelines that are in place and just try to be clean, wash our hands, have them wash their hands, and just not have as many people at a time.
I wanted to talk about experience, and the reason why I wanted to talk about experience is because I always said I have so many experiences when it comes to hair care, and I finally found a home for a hairdresser. But I have so many experiences where somebody has actually, laid their hands on my hair, and with that, I've gone to have my own stereotypes. I've been in the type of situations where not the fact that the person is double booking, because it can happen, but a thing of where, because they were double booking, now you haven't eaten. So now maybe you eating your fish and chips, and then now my hair starting to smell like what you ate. Or, you know, you can't bring your guests in, but you got your kids, and now they laying on my lap. I'm rocking the baby to sleep while I'm waiting to get my hair. I'm like, whose kid is this? You know? No, and unfortunately, I have had a lot of situations where they were unethical, where they were non-professional, and it's kind of like, wow. Like, okay, just like right now, if someone's doing your hair, you get a phone call. Majority of times, I'm not assuming that you would stay on the phone call all the whole conversation. You know, you might take it real quick. I went to Ulta beauty salon. I don't know if they have that in New York, but I know in Florida they do. Okay, and there's a hair salon, and they were very strict on their policy in reference to the hairstylist picking up that phone and conversating, which I love. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to know about your man divorcing you. I really don't care. Now, you can hear about my problems and how happy I am. Well, no. But just, I didn't want to sound bitter. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to be in and out and just keep it moving. And if I come in to see you at 10 o'clock for a hair appointment, I shouldn't be leaving at 6 p.m. I should not be leaving at 6 p.m. My hair shouldn't smell like your lunch. You shouldn't be, I got to use the restroom. And I'm like, wait, did you wash?
But then, so playing devil's advocate, you have to think about, as the customer, what are you willing to accept? I mean, I'm sure at any time, you know, unless you have chemicals in your hair or something really going on, you could get up and leave before say something.
Well, so of course, you know, this is not a one-time situation. This is just bouncing around to find that right hairstylist. Within saying that, you know, now I have zero tolerance, zero patience, and I'm out, you know. But I have been in the situation where I have said something, and then now me and her are looking at each other kind of weird, and has that.
And then she's digging in your hair with.
But unfortunately, see, New York is seen, because I'm originally from New York, and they have a multitude of hair salons. Florida, it has some, but you have to per se travel to get to them. So I live on the east side of town, and then there's a lot of the shops are on the west side of town, and I don't want to travel that far. So if you stay on your side of town, you're limited, because I live in a white area. You're limited because they don't have a lot of those shops. Even the weave stores that where they would sell weave at, there'll be one, and they overcharge because they know that you want to travel, you know. So I mean, experience is definitely key. I mean, when you finally find that bond with a hairdresser, you know, you're sharing your business, you're having these jokes, you're having this thing. It's supposed to be something that's enjoyable. It's not supposed to be something that you're going through, you know, like you like the hairstyle. One thing I do love also, Jamie, is the fact that here, this is what I charge you. This is the price for this hairstyle. I hate it when somebody doesn't tell you. So you give me one hairstyle and then charge somebody else a separate one. And you're like, well, wait a second.
I used to get charged by my length. I used to get charged by
that's normal.
Yeah.
But it has to be quoted in advance.
Right.
You can't be like, okay, they can't wash your hair and then start on your hair, and then halfway through, okay, your hair a little bit longer than what I thought it was going to be. Let me go ahead and add, you know, that has to there. That's why consultations are important. The communication is so important, because before you even get to that point, like you should already be agreeing with each other and understand each other through the communication. But you know how much you're spending.
But I've been in the situation where I thought that, you know, myself and the person dealing with my hair were on the same page. It was an open conversation. You know, there was a price that was named, and then afterwards, now the price looks different. And then there's, you know, this edition, and what do? Not pay? You know, for me, I just normally don't go back, but then I normally don't go to stylists anyway. period.
Okay.
Like I'm just I'm very low maintenance with my hair. Very, very low maintenance. I don't really want to be bothered like that.
I think your hair is beautiful.
Thank you. But it's time consuming and it's hot and it's sometimes and it's
She's about to cry. Tell me how you really feel. That's funny.
She's here. I want to talk about it.
Are you really? No, I mean it's just interesting. I mean, I know that the barbershop, the hair salon is that safe haven. Madam C.J. Walker. I seen that movie that just came out. It was on Netflix. I thought it was a very, very good rendition of her life and what she had to go through to make this multi-million-dollar avenue platform for us. And without her, we probably didn't even have we didn't have products back in the day. And then she kind of put that idea out there, and then now we've grown with that. You mentioned, Jamie, about how we need to look at the different ingredients and good for our own hair. I want to mention real quick before we go about health. So I used to be, and this is no pun or anything knocking my mom, I think it's just the generation. My mother would put relaxers in my hair. And of course, when you get older, you get used to it. You're like, oh, yes, slick back, and back then everybody had the gel and all types of stuff trying to look like Aaliyah. And I was. Anyway, with that being said, though, it was pressed upon you to have this nice, shiny hair, I suppose, softer hair. And I used to use perms if I had like a little crinkle, like, my God, maybe every 2-3 weeks. Now, I don't know the science. This is just my theory. And I'm going to ask you, have you heard anything about this? But I know when I got older, I ended up getting ovarian cysts. And I had to go to the doctor to get them removed because a lot of African-American women have the same issue. With that being said, I used to hear that perms were association with that. Now, when I stopped using perms and say, hey, maybe I'll use a perm maybe that once a year or not even any or just whatever the case may be, they all dissipated. The doctor told me I would never be able to have another child again. I have my little 3-year-old. I don't have any ovarian cysts. I don't have any of that. They had diagnosed me with a PCOC, is polycystic ovarian cyst.
PCOS.
Thank you. And with that being said, when I stopped the perms and when I took herbs, I'm fine and I have a baby. Have you heard anything in reference to chemicals and dyes that will hurt your insides? Have you heard anything of that nature?
Yes. Well, any chemicals that you put on your scalp is going to absorb through your pores because your pores are in your head. And if you, and in your hands, it's with anything that you put on your skin, it's going to absorb through your pores and into your body. So if this is something that you're doing, you said like you used to do it every couple of weeks. If you're doing that every couple of weeks and you're exposing your scalp and your pores, that's seeping through your insides. So, sodium hydroxide is the main ingredient in relaxers. So,
wow.
There's been studies that show the correlation when it comes to women of color and the fibroids and cysts in regards to the straighteners that we use. I want to thank you, Jamie, but I also want you to give information if people want to book an appointment with you. You're based out of Florida, correct?
Yes, I'm located in Winter Park, Florida. You can follow me on IG. It's Jamie Marcel, just like it's spelled on the screen, but it's all together with an underscore. So you can follow me on IG. All my information is there. Moisturize your hair, follow up with your stylist, try to be on a schedule and be consistent with your hair so that you can have consistency. And if you do wear weaves or braids or wigs, take care of your hair underneath them.
Yes. You got any final words, Ty?
No, I had fun today. Thank you. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, she has to come back because I need help, girl. I need help.
Well, I definitely, once again, and like I told you, Jamie, I was going to be thanking you. Thank you again for taking your time out of your busy schedule and just sharing information with your audience. Even though this is live, a lot of times people kind of tune in later, or when they're on the drive to work or have that free time. So definitely this information can be used. Thank you to my audience once again. We love you. I want to say we actually just hit 80 subscribers. So I'm super happy. We need 20 more to make our URL. So definitely we're taking those slow steps. But thank you guys. And my last but not least, at the end of the day, my husband also appreciates you too, Jamie. Thank you. Because you be doing things, you know what I'm saying? But with it, and I do too, because at the end of the day, hair is something that everybody looks at initially, and you always make me come out looking wonderful. And I promise, and I'll try to be more patient and keep my hairdos the same. So you don't see me all the time. But I love you. Thank you guys. Okay.
Thank you. Have a good
day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Let's end this.